physical activity will change your life. Now let me explain, okay? The last time some of us have ever done any activity was during PE in school. And a lot of us didn't even want to do it back then, including myself. You know, when I was in school, I was chubby, didn't really want to do any activity, just wanted to go home, play on my console. Now, again, that's fine, but there needs to be balance, right? I grew up fat, grew up kind of chubby, but I needed a change. I was getting told I was chubby, I was getting told that I eat too much, and I was like, fuck it, man, I need a change. I can't keep living like this. And so what I did is I started, doing push-ups in my room, the usual, push-ups in your room, doing some crunches, some running outside, the usual, changing up my diet and stuff. And that's when I realized that my life was never going to be the same. I started feeling euphoria like I'd never felt before, goosebumps, tingling, feeling so competent, like, wow, I'm doing something. At first you start off and you're like, oh, this is actually so grueling, it's actually so hard. But then you get used to it, then you start getting good at it, and you get so good at it that it's like this consistent routine, and then you can't not be good at it. Even if you stop it and then come back, you've like ingrained this skill in you. And that skill is not just the ability to physically train, but that skill is also the ability to do grueling activities physically, okay? And when you start, being completely inactive to all of a sudden moving your body, sweating, feeling the emotions that come with training, you start to realize, like, this is what we're supposed to be doing, like, at all times, or regularly, And you've probably heard, we're biologically designed to hunt animals. And it's true, bro. We're designed to have our adrenaline pump into 100 because we're hungry and we're running after this beast that we want for dinner. And we've become so sedentary, where again, the last time people have ever touched anything physically active is in PE, and they didn't enjoy it because they didn't do it for themselves. They did it because they were told that it's good, right? But I beg you, and I'd like you to, and so, in my personal experience, I joined the gym back in 2017, and I've been going ever since, because I realized what it did for me. It did more than just, build up my muscles and increase my endurance for activity. It alleviated a lot of the emotional trauma and pent-up, again, anxiety that I was dealing with, the physical stresses of everyday life. Because we're supposed to, that it's in us. We're supposed to do some sort of activity. Our brain and body does not give a fuck what the purpose for the activity is. That purpose is for ourselves. It's for ourselves to keep pushing. But our brain and body don't give a fuck. Our brain and body don't know what weight it is, don't know how much time we're running for. It just understands physical exertion. It understands, oh, now I'm under physical stress, okay? And it's either you're under mental stress, which again, our body doesn't know really much what to do with it. Again, nowadays, we have too much mental stress and not enough physical stress. And I believe once we've balanced it out, once we have the perfect amount of stimulus for our minds and for our bodies, we'll become what we're supposed to be, okay? We'll have enough physical alleviation to where we can focus on the mental tasks at hand. And we're not so physically burdened that we can't, we're not so physically burdened that we can't do that mental task. You know what I'm saying? But it's also, it works in accordance with one another. And again, I implore you, go on a run, get your heart rate beating, even if you haven't done any activity in a long time, and just the more you can get yourself to do that, even if the first time you do it is now and the next time you do it is like in a month's time, that's something you're doing that you haven't done. Okay, that's already something that your body has to recover from and your body is adapting to. And the more you do it, the more mentally resilient you get, and the harder it is to then start that task. Again, physical activity is never going to be piss easy, but there's so much enjoyment that comes from building your body up and again, I believe there's too much of an emphasis in our society to be cognitive, to think, right? The part of our lives that were physically demanding, they're not as demanding anymore. We're not in labor jobs as much. We're not on the farms. We're not working hands-on as much, which is why our workforce is split into labor and education, right? Which is interesting, but and also physical training is seen as a brutish activity. It's seen as something that people without intellectual ability do, right? And slowly this is starting to change, right? There's people who are both smart and also physically trained, such as people like Andrew Huberman. Again, not a lot of people might call him a credible researcher, but it's just one of those aspects in society and one of those figures that is relevant for the specific thing I'm talking about. And I think what we need to do is find a healthy balance between cognitive and physical, right? We need to have the perfect amount of physical stress and the perfect amount of mental stress. Otherwise, they're just not going to work. Our bodies are not going to work as designed, right? We're not supposed to be overly working on one of those parts. So we're supposed to be a whole. We can't just think without remembering that we do have a body, right? Another thing that I've found that physical training helps with is confidence. Surprise, when you build muscle, when you're lifting heavy ass weights, literally nothing else in the world kind of phases you, right? You're doing something that a lot of people cannot do. You're going through intense situations that a lot of people are nowhere near able to even comprehend. And this is not something to brag about, but even for myself, when I first joined the gym and I started lifting, I realized how hard it is just to do the bar. And over years and years of stress and anxiety and worries and I'm not good enough and this and that, after years of going through that and going to the gym over and over and over, that I have built myself to where the gym is like a place where I love and I flourish. And when I'm outside of that, before it wouldn't be so apparent, but before I found it still kind of hard to come out of the gym and be competent, because the gym is where it was my everything. And then outside of it, I was like, well, these people don't know what I do and I can't relate out here. And it kind of just felt like for the longest time that the gym was my home. The gym was where I exist. But then I started to realize, the things that I build in the gym, I take outside of it. The strategic planning that I do with my workouts, I take outside of my workouts. The socializing that I do inside of the gym, I take it outside of the gym. The level of confidence you build when you're a bit bigger than the people around you, and people can tell that you train, people compliment you, again, seems vain, but you should get complimented on the things that you work hard on, right? So you naturally start to feel not better than other people. That's not the goal, but you feel competent in areas that a lot of people can't even fathom being competent in. Someone can beat you up, right? Not beat you up, someone can beat you up with their words, oh, you're this, you're that. But then the second you tell them to do a few push-ups or a few pull-ups and they can't do it, you can easily tell the type of person they are. Not that they're wrong for not being able to do those things, but it's something that's so easy to you, it's not easy for them. It it breaks the gap. Like, listen, you're a human being, you can't say shit to me. Like, genuinely, no one on this planet can say shit to you. If you have something that they can't do, or if you're competent in your own way, right? Obviously, to a certain extent, like someone who's like way physically stronger than you, like me, even me, could beat me up, right? But in the sense of like, there's not a lot of people. I'm not saying there's not a lot of people who could beat me up, but I'm saying there's not a lot of people who just physically train in general. The gym population, as big as it might seem, it's not. On average, people don't really work out that often, especially amongst girls. Guys, you still get a handful of them who's probably never trained in their lives and they're afraid of it, or just feel like they don't have a compulsion to train, but they don't understand what they're missing. I had, for example, my brother. It took many, many years of convincing for him to do any physical activity, and he just didn't want to become like the gym bros. But as soon as he got in, he's the one trying to get people to hop on the gym. It's not just about the gym. It's about what it provides you. It provides you a home. It provides you a space to socialize. It provides you, ability to feel competent, confident, an understanding of your body and your mind. There's a lot of things that go into it. It's a safe space for people. And it will change your life. Physical training, it doesn't have to be the gym. It can be anything. It will change your life. Because once you've done that heavy-ass run, once you've lifted those heavy-ass weights, and then you go outside on the pavement, and you're walking at a normal pace, and you're doing normal things like picking up groceries, you kind of realize how mundane, like how little exertion people actually put in their daily lives now. Because we've got cars, we've got trains, we've got buses, we're not like logging things around anymore. We're getting food and groceries delivered to your house. You're getting things delivered to your home. You're getting Uber Eats. There's not a lot of physical. Everything's just like automated, quick and easy. Not a lot of physical effort is needed to live your life anymore, which is why the obesity rates are so big now and so high in the majority of the world. It's because there's not a lot of physical demand needed anymore for us to live our lives. We can genuinely live our lives sedentary and have no reason to get out of bed. We can do everything from home. We can even work from home. But the key is, even amongst what society demands of us physically, we need to put ourselves through discomfort ourselves in order to improve. Again, I can say all these things, but you're going to look better, you're going to feel better, you're going to think better. What else do you want? It's literally a cheat code, but it's not, because you do have to put the effort in, you do have to go. And it sounds scary in that, but I love to go. I literally love to go every single time, most times. And when I do go, there's never a time that I've regretted it, unless I've like pushed myself hard when I'm ill or something like that, when I should have just stayed home, right? So what's the point of this video? The point of this video is, if you are physically training, try and get more of those benefits, right? Try and, if you're running, do resistance training. If you're resistance training, try some running. Even amongst people who physically train, there are aspects of training that they're not engaging in, which they're also losing out on the benefits of that. For the longest time, like I've always incorporated running or cardio somewhat into my training, but there are periods of time where I've not done any cardio at all. But the more I incorporate, even like 10 minutes after a session or something, it just makes me realize like what I'm actually gaining from this. It's increasing my endurance. I'm way less bloated. I'm way less puffy. I would say I'm way less out of breath just by walking. There are times where I just be out of breath just by walking, which is actually insane. You forget to realize, like, if you're not walking, if you're not running, and you're not doing these things, bro, unless you're like put into that situation, you don't realize like how much you lack that skill. And the key is balance everything, right? You need a healthy balance of cardio, you need a healthy balance of resistance training, you need a healthy balance of stretching and other sorts of exercises, right? and you need to do that in accordance with, you know, the mentally fatiguing tasks or mentally draining tasks that we do everyday life, you know, like chores and, you know, academic work and just maybe our careers, etc. So what can we take away from this video? Yeah, if you are physically training, do things that you might find uncomfortable or that you haven't tried yet. And if you aren't physically training, just go out there, 5 minutes, go on a little run, little jog. It can be late at night so then no one sees you if you're a bit nervous. Even I don't like running during the day. Or maybe at home, just if you can do knee push-ups, maybe do a few of them. And if you can do normal push-ups, just do a few of them. But do it till you feel like you're sweating. Do it till you feel like your heart is beating. And till you feel that rush. And just do that regularly, you know. Try and bring yourself into working out as regularly as possible. You know, it can even be just once a week. As long as you're being active in some capacity. Because it's better to do something than nothing. And that is very true. And I've really based my training philosophy on that. It's ideally, no, not ideally, but like, I'd love to do absolutely nothing, but that's the part of me that's comfortable, that likes to be comfortable. I'd like to do absolutely nothing, but that's not true, because once I do something, then I realize like that's what I actually want to do. That's what my soul craves, you know. And if we go to Christian values, you've got what the soul wants and what the flesh wants. And the flesh loves comfort. The flesh does not want to do anything at all. The flesh just wants things to happen for it and it to not pursue those things. But the soul craves exertion. It craves working through those emotions. It craves finding its higher purpose, even when it's unknown and maybe we'll never know its purpose. The soul craves action, right? So yeah, we need to get out there. Physical activity will change your lives if you let it. And yeah, I hope you guys stay safe.